3, 2, 1. David Charrier, we are back again.
We're back.
What's up, bro?
I'm doing super good. Summer has been amazing.
Yeah. Dude, I'm super good. You. I'm super good, but there's also a part of me that misses you extra now because we spent, was it 2 total weeks, right? We did the week of Pan Tribe together and then the week in France. This kind of sucks now. Back looking at you on the screen. I know, I miss you too, buddy.
Oh la la, that was so cool.
It was good, man. That was a fun time.
Yes, teaching, jamming, performing, driving a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Restaurants, Eiffel Tower.
A lot of food. We saw the Eiffel Tower. Wine, cheese. Crazy. Croissant, but, I mean, we passed right over it. That was your first performance in performance in what, 4 years? 4 years,
yeah. I realized with this. Oh, I was stressed a lot. I was stressing a lot. Like, it's good to see you back on stage, David. Yeah, but it's been a long time I haven't composed and stuff. So I think it was good. I liked it. It was good for me, but mainly the goal for me was just to get out of my cave, of all those years. COVID plus 2 kids. Ooh.
Yeah.
You have to stay at home.
Yeah, man.
First, because you're locked down. And second, your kids lock you down for 2 more years. And so back on stage, back to see some friends, back doing festivals. And
nice.
I
mean, the crowd response to your show, it was like people missed seeing you up there, man. The people loved it.
Yeah, no, that was incredible. Like, I still have listeners. I'm not only a Master the Handpan guy and the teacher or the guy behind his computer. So that was kind of cool. I've been missing that. If you spend 1, 2, 3, 4 years without composing, releasing CDs, and going on stage and stuff, you feel like you're someone else. I'm a musician. I'm an artist. It's been my whole life, and No, that was great.
Great. Yeah, it was great, man. It was great to see you. It was a nice end for you. It was your first time. For me, I saw you at the end of my tour, so it was it was the last couple of things were with you, so it was extra nice, man.
Nice.
But yeah, man, this is I'm back home now, back in New Jersey.
Yeah, so how you got to see your parents, family?
Yeah,
resting?
got to see everybody. It was weird, man. I see my family like once a week. I try to go for Sunday dinners as much as I can.
Nice.
So I was the tour for me was like just about 7 weeks. So it was, but yeah, man, it's good to be home, but it was also super fun to be over there. Like we mentioned Pan Tribe, and we did some stuff in France, but I also did the Wild Naya Festival, Curiosity Festival, and the
guy.
Hug
You've
Festival.
Been all over the Europe,
man. Yeah. It was, and got to see the IASA team. The Mag Instruments team, like all the guys, man, it was great.
And people really enjoyed Dan Mulqueen. I got so many nice feedback from the people. You've been rocking Europe.
I enjoyed being there and seeing all them too, man. It was super great. But so yeah, back home, back to work, back
to work. But this is not work. This is the moment we are waiting for. Just chill and talk with some good fellas.
A family affair today.
That's a family one.
A family today.
Not family because, hey, bro, sister.
Yeah, you and me. No,
this is family.
Yeah, this is the guest today, Sylvain. See, and this is the problem.
Yeah.
I have known Sylvain since 2014, and I'm too embarrassed to ask if it's Paslier or Paslier.
Now, you don't pronounce the S. It's like Mountain
It's just
Dew.
Paslier,
Mountain
right?
Dew. You don't pronounce the T.
There's a T in this word.
There's a T in Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
But here you don't pronounce the S. Paslier.
Yeah, Paslier.
Sylvain Paslier.
So now I think I'm going to mess it up in the interview, but I've known him for so long that it's a bit too embarrassing to ask how to pronounce his name. So I don't even know what I say. I think sometimes I say it with the S, sometimes without the S.
You're good. He's going to forgive you. He's an old player.
Yeah, man. One of the OGs.
OGs.
Yeah. But he's been around forever. You know him since literally forever. You've known him since his birth.
Yeah.
But yeah, a recent addition to the MasterTheHandpan team.
Ooh.
This guy, we have a lot to talk about, a lot to catch up with him about.
Yeah.
I'm ready to bring him on if you are.
Yeah, let's bring him on.
Sylvain Paslier on the Handpan Show. David Charrier, here we are.
Here we are.
It is a family event today on the Handpan Show.
It is a big family event.
We're here with your actual blood relative cousin, yes. Sylvain Paslier.
And this is something not everyone knows. I mean, every year I'm telling that to some people and they're like, you guys are cousins?
Yeah. Because you know what it is, I think, is because you had that viral YouTube clip that's Cousins Duo. And it's like, oh, what a nice name for a video. But you're like, no. We're actually cousins.
We are.
Like it's just a real title.
Excellent.
But Sylvain has been playing since 2004, I believe. 2006?
Six would be correct.
Okay, yeah 2006. And since then, he's put out one of my favorite solo albums called Carousel 2015. He has a single from 2022 called Wadi. And then in 2021, he hit us with the Water Tower Sessions, The Search, Take It Slow, and Gooballicious. And then the last single on his Spotify is called Aurora from 2017. I've always thought he's like your favorite player's favorite player. The ones who know, they know. Sylvain's the man.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for joining us, dude. Welcome to the Handpan Show.
Welcome.
Yeah,
you are so kind. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is going to be fun.
Man. So, we just talked about it for half a second, but you and David are actually cousins. And one of my favorite things that you've told me about this, that I don't think anybody now, given his current hair situation, is that he had corn-style dreadlocks as a kid. What other things can you tell us from David's childhood?
Be careful, cousin.
Oh man, I mean, so many memories. David was always the cool cousin. He's 5 years older than me, and when you're a kid, that's a big deal. Like I always looked to him as a much older, this cool guy. As you said, he had long dreadlocks. He was playing electric guitar in metal bands. Yeah. And I was actually closer growing up to his younger brother. And one day, his brother calls me up on the phone and says, David discovered this new instrument. It's called the Hang. And, it sounded like a Chinese, Asian instrument. And he puts me on speaker or puts David on speaker. And I hear the first few notes of the Hang. That's probably in 2004, 2005. And, phone quality, not all that great.
Yeah.
But then in 2005, probably, we have a family reunion at my parents' house in the backyard. And David comes and he probably brought both of his Hangs.
Yeah, I think I had
the first gen and the second gen. Yeah. And so this was the first time that I heard this instrument in person. And I dreamed about it all night the day after. And there started this amazing connection with David because we'd never really had much in common, but I'd been playing percussion my whole life, and David was in metal bands. But I think when you can confirm that, David, but when you got into the Hang, you also entered the world of percussion. And all of a sudden we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
And so I discovered this instrument through David.
That's a pretty big gift to have from your cousin. So the initial reaction was you were dreaming about it and you couldn't stop thinking about it. But for you, how was it as a player? Your first touches, your first experiences with the instrument, was it kind of easy right away? Did it take you a while to develop a sound out of it? Like, how was your initial reaction as a player? What was that like?
Okay, so from a pretty early age, I've been playing percussion. So I think I had a pretty good sense of rhythm, and I was playing guitar in high school, but, this was a new instrument, and it still is for most people out there entering this scene. So yeah, for sure, there was an adjustment period that, like anyone would go through. I would say I was incredibly privileged because of that, family connection. So David took the time to show me the instrument. And what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind. So this is 2005. This instrument is just beginning to go viral, right? And clearly David sees that I'm taken with it. I'm developing a passion. I am just entranced. Okay, time out. When I lend my handpan to a friend, when I let them play it, I hover. I breathe down their neck. I make sure, don't play too hard. Don't, helicopter mom, right? Yeah. Let's close the timeout. Yeah. Go back to 2005. In 2005, David says, well, here, borrow mine for 6 months. What? Like, okay, 4 years later, this instrument would be worth $10,000, and he entrusts this kid with this one-of-a-kind, rare instrument, and he doesn't even, like, check in. He complete trust.
I had dreadlocks. I was a hippie.
Yeah. No, here's what it is. Either you were completely insane, or this is an example of outrageous generosity. And
thanks.
I am so grateful.
I couldn't do anything else. You were just passionate. I was like, he needs one. It's not like, give this guy a handpan. Sometimes you're like, just give this guy a handpan. Yeah. And I was like, he needs a hang at home. So
this makes a lot of sense though on your borrowing habits. Like even when we were just setting up the podcast, I was like, we're getting the mic levels checked and all this, and he looks at me and he just starts pointing at his microphone, and I was like, damn dude, where'd you get that? He's, I loaned it to somebody like 8 months ago, and they just text me like, hey, I still have your microphone. Like,
I forgot
it's like $1,000 microphone. You just forgot about it, dude. Just like, it's too generous.
Oh, so generous. Yeah. And so, I was lucky. I was lucky to have access to a really, really nice instrument. And then ultimately, I was so lucky to actually be able to find a hang in 2007. It's a crazy story, but
it's a crazy one.
Being at the right place in the right time, and it shouldn't have happened. And in fact, in retrospect, tens of thousands of people were trying to get a hang during those days. And the funny thing is, now I'm actually very good friends with Ron Kravitz, who, Dan, Yeah. So Ron was working with PANArt, handling sales. So my letter was one of tens of thousands of people who desperately wanted the instrument but never got a chance to actually make it through whatever process they were using. And I found my harmonic minor first gen hang in a store called Piquet Bosch in Lyon in France, and the journey began.
Wow, that's crazy, man. Yeah, it's very cool that Ron. Like I have a kind of a similar story with how Dave just let you borrow one. Ron has a drum circle. For anyone who doesn't know, he was like the US representative for PANArt for many years, and I was at his drum circle one Tuesday, and I remember like I'd gone a few times because he had like 5 hangs at his place, and for me it was like 2008, 2007. I think it was like 2008, and after like the second or third time at his place, I was like, man, this is just so cool. And he was like, yeah, you're coming back next week, right? Why don't you just take that with you? And he like let me borrow like the second gen hang for like a week. And I remember driving home with it on like the front seat of my car, just like hitting the ding note, like, I have it. So yeah, it's very cool that Ron. I love that guy.
And cousin, so after this harmonic minor, it was an A ding, right?
Yep.
A ding, and with the B flat for already
very high pitched.
Very high pitched, excellent. So you got how many? You got another one from Felix and Sabina straight away?
No. In fact, it took me years to. So
what was the story again?
For people who are in the know, second gen hangs are considered the holy grail.
Yeah.
And for many years, as David and I were playing together in bands, I got to play his second gen and scratch that itch. Wonderful instrument. And I finally last year was able to track one down.
Yes.
After more than 10 years of looking for a second gen. But no, it took me years. In fact, for the first 7 years of my handpan journey, I only had one instrument.
Oh yeah.
I'm stuck with it. I loved it. I hated it. It was,
But it's for me kind of the same. There's two hang, but we for like 5, 6, 7 years, but we were stuck with those notes, only those ones.
Yeah.
And we had to create different kind of songs and stuff. That was tough. I mean, looking at this, you're like, wow, how can we stay that long with only one scale? But we couldn't do.
Okay, so I actually treasure that time because, fast forward to 2013 is when I got my second instrument, and then third and fourth. But those 7 years stuck with, quote unquote stuck, incredibly privileged, right, to be a part of this first wave. The limitations forced me to explore that instrument. I know it inside and out. And that is a great feeling, to get to know your instrument, the intricacies.
Yeah.
The only thing I wish is that back then we would actually know anything about maintenance. It's actually rusted pretty badly. Like, remember the early days, David? There was no information about, you should keep it out of your bag. You should, clean it with a microfiber cloth. Like, we had no clue. And I remember one weekend we went camping outside of Grenoble with David and maybe Rudy, our didgeridoo player. And I woke up the next day. We had brought our instruments, and my hang has rust all over it. And just what do you do? There's no information back then.
Yeah, man. I mean, we just got that tip from Felix. Like, if you ever see some rusted dots, you just with a sponge, the green side of a sponge.
Wasn't there like the plastic spoon too for a while? That the people I think that was like a Kyle Pantheon said, like the plastic spoon gets the rust off or something like this.
That's a Pantheon era tip.
Yeah. But so the early days for you, because I started so early, how many like PANArt instruments did you have?
Me or David?
You. Yeah.
Just one.
No, but you said you had like a second gen and then the Goubal, and like you've had a bunch of PANArts.
This happened much, much later.
Oh, okay.
Over the past few years, where I've been able to track down the instruments that I had my eyes on for years, and it pops up on Craigslist or it pops up on Reboncoin, and you finally get an opportunity to get your dream scale. But no, they were completely and utterly inaccessible for years.
Yeah. It was the most frustrating thing, man. You're like obsessed with this instrument that you've never played and could never own. It was crazy in the beginning. But with all that being said, man, I mean, especially with your history and how long you've been around and all the PANArt talks and stuff, what do you make of the current state of them, with the legal battles and all of this stuff? Like, what's your take on all of that?
Colin Folk spoke to this, and I would refer to his episode. Like, it was much more thorough than what I could say about it. I guess what I'll say is, for David and I and many other early hang players, like, those memories we cherish them.
Yeah.
We disagree with their attitude today. And so, I don't condone and I don't understand. But I think Colin actually said it beautifully. The energy that is stored in these early hang, it's the energy from back then. It's the pure energy of bringing something into the world.
Yeah.
And I can connect with that.
Yeah.
I think when you are, when you are an old player, you are attached to the PANArt.
Yeah.
And you cannot throw that away just because of all this and everything. And I didn't meet a lot of old hang players being completely like Felix, blah, 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 or,
Yeah.
I met a few, they sold everything and they don't want to be related to that. But people who they know, then we cannot throw this away.
Yeah.
Because it's not only PANArt, it's the whole period, these years, there were gold.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, and even still, like to this day, it's like I definitely don't condone anything that they're doing or whatever. But man, I would love to have like a first gen or a second gen in my collection from way back then. Like I've never owned one. Like I've borrowed a bunch over the years, but I've never owned one, and I've always kind of wanted to have one. But so yeah, it's
I can lend
it's
you
always
one.
interesting. Yeah, for 6 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take advantage of David's outrageous generosity.
In consciousness.
Yeah. But
we actually have some fun stories from our time in Switzerland. In 2008, David and I drove there to get our Hangs retuned. And so, okay, we knew that Felix was going to retune them anyways.
Yeah.
So the night before the retune, we were so giddy, we were so excited that we stayed up playing all night. And we were like, okay, you know that moment when you just hit your instrument a little bit too hard and you're like, oh crap.
yeah.
Okay, well, when you know that the next day they're going to be retuned, you'd have no filter. And we made those Hangs sing, baby.
Shining. True. Oh, that was excellent.
And the backstory of this,
that night in their little booth, that was the workshop actually, next to the river.
Yeah, we were in the actual Hang house. And so David pulls out the old camera and we record a video, which ends up having 4 million views on YouTube. And it's called Hang Insomniac Jam because we had stayed up all night. Yeah. We were insomniacs. And the funny thing that people don't know in that video is, like I said, like I grew up playing percussion, so I think my rhythm was pretty good, but somehow that night, maybe I was too excited. I just couldn't stay on rhythm. And so it's outside of the frame of the video, so you don't see it. But in that video, David is like stepping on my foot to keep me on the tempo. And it's just so funny to me that, this video made it.
No, that was excellent.
Yeah. And then you guys went on to, was it Kiona, right? Was the name of the duo?
Yeah.
What was that? How much later was that, the inception of that?
2008.
Yeah.
So basically, we recorded a video. We met a girl, Leonie, and she got in touch with Sylvain, like, hey, you're a Hang player. Me too. And as those dates, it was like unbelievable. There's someone else. We're not alone. You feel like in a movie where we're not alone on this island. And so she got in touch with Sylvain. She came in France because we wanted all the three of us, to go and see Aduk Trio with Steve Sheehan.
Yeah, Steve Sheehan.
So we went there. We saw the amazing show, Baldamore. And we got to hang out and jam a little bit with Steve Sheehan. And so she came at your place, at your parents', and then we recorded a video, but just as a souvenir. We had no idea of what's going on. It was just, hey, let's capture this moment. How can we share it? There's this new platform, YouTube. That it was just new in France. So let's share it. It's kind of a way to share a video. And after 3 months later on, she received, because she had the account, she received an email from a guy who were asking us, are you guys a band? She said, yes. Because I would love you guys to come in Tennessee to perform 81 gigs. 81 shows. 27 days, 3 times a day at Dollywood, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Can you imagine those two Frenchies going in a plane with their brand new instrument, like no one knew, and we were flying to the United States of America to perform every single day.
Yeah.
For a month.
Damn.
That's the story of Kiona.
Yeah. Was that video? I was trying to remember. Leon, was it Leone? Yeah. There was like her sitting on like a white couch playing a first gen hung. Was that this video, or was that a different one of the one that you're talking about?
That's at my parents' house. I mean, I was just a kid, like I was in high school.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing that video, and I once you said it was, you know, like it's like way in the back of your memory. You're like, I remember watching that girl's videos like in high school.
It's still online.
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
Maybe she delayed it. Yeah.
And for you, Sylvain, what was that like? I mean, you go from, you know, David shows you the instrument, you know, now you've got one, now you're on the way to Dollywood to perform. Is this all kind of just, you're just saying yes to stuff? Do you start to have this like forward thought of, wow, I can make a career out of this? Like, where are you at with all of this stuff? Because you're still like, what, 18 at the time?
Yeah. So I had signed up to go to university in my hometown in Lyon. And this Dollywood, you know, I don't know if we mentioned, this is Dolly Parton's amusement park in Tennessee. By the way, like these two Frenchies, we had no idea who Dolly Parton was.
Not at all. Yeah.
You didn't know any of her songs or anything?
No.
I mean, country music's not really big in
France. Yeah.
In France.
Yeah.
We looked her up and thought, that's a strange, very kind, but you know, she looks
super kind,
intense. And so this USA opportunity comes up, and so I tell my parents, I think I want to take a gap year to experience these things with the music. And so it was before I even turned 18. I was 17. I moved to Grenoble, which is where David grew up. Moved in with him. We lived together that summer.
Yeah.
We started an incredible band with
Zalem,
didgeridoo maestro Zalem. So that was a big reason for the move as well.
Was that what is Wadom?
Wadom.
Wadom, yeah.
Wadom. Oh, yeah. So many memories.
Yeah.
We quit everything. I mean, you took a year off. I quit my studies, and we did this band in my garage. That looks like a teenage band story in my parents' garage.
We quit eating. The week that Leone came to Grenoble, I kid you not, we lived on Yup, which is a kind of like yogurt.
Okay.
We were just playing music all day.
All day.
We were not having any food. We were just recording stuff. It's just, the passion was just so high.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So then is that where you kind of, once you saw like, okay, I could play with bands, we're getting invited here, is that, were the wheels turning already as to career, or was it just, I'm going to college next year, this is fun for now?
I had no notion of what it all meant. I think we were just living it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, at that time, YouTube was just nothing. I mean, you didn't even think, let's put a plant or let's have a frame. It's nothing. No system of views, like, share, comments. I think it was just like we share. So we were so innocent. Can I say virgin of all this system of like and views and all that? It was now it's gone. You cannot go back to this kind of state of mind.
Yeah.
I mean,
but if I can point something out, like, go to the MasterTheHandpan YouTube channel, which is David's original YouTube channel, and sort videos by the oldest. And you will find David's oldest videos. And this is where I'm not surprised where he's gone with his career. From the first time you posted something on it, you were light years ahead of what others were doing. No, it was so good, man. Like, just incredible. And yeah, there was raw energy on YouTube. Those were fun years.
Yeah, I'm gonna
awesome, man.
cry a little bit, and I'll come back. You can do the next question then.
Well, I guess kind of fast forwarding ahead a bit. I mean, that's kind of the origin story, the how you started to play and get gigs, and you're in bands and all this. But something that I've always really admired about you is your attention to the community and the support of the other players around you. What was your first kind of exposure outside of Dave and Leone to like the handpan community early days?
Great question, because it happened in 2008. David and I went to Hangout UK. We missed the first year. It started in 2007.
Oh, I thought it was the first one.
We
went to the second one. All of the time it was the first one. It was not the first one.
No,
it was the second one.
Gonna delete some comments now.
To delete
the
so
second
many
one,
stuff.
but I've heard people say, these old timers, that the second one was actually the best.
Yeah.
So
okay,
there you go. So picture this. We're there. There's maybe 15, 20 people maximum. The term handpan would not be used for another 5 or 6 years, right? You look around the room, all the instruments are all hungs. They're all, there's just one maker worldwide. So Andy Steil was there, David Swarup, Spiros Pan, Ward,
Michael Coley.
What more could you ask for?
Yeah.
So those were glorious beginnings. I remember Rusty James from the US was there. He had 4 hungs. We all were so jealous.
Yeah.
And then we went back in 2009. And then by that point, I had started university. And ultimately in 2011, I moved to the States. And this is where we're starting to hear a term come up. The handpan. It's a new word.
Yeah, and so hard to get it, like, and to use it.
It doesn't roll off the tongue well. I shouldn't criticize the name. Actually, our good friend Kyle Cox of Pantheon still derived that term. And what I saw in the US was really exciting. And I think we can really call it a handpan movement. And of course it happened in Europe as well at the same time. But the hang was so rare and so inaccessible. And now the gates were open. And you had a whole new generation of people experiencing the transformation that comes from having access to this beautiful instrument. And the level of passion was on par, if not higher, than in the early days. And that was really exciting to see. So 2013, I went to Handpangea in North Carolina. And that's where I met Kyle Cox, Colin Folk, Josh Rivera, Mark Garner of Saraz was there, Sean Beaver was there, Ray Ford. I mean, Jeremy Arndt.
That's awesome. Yeah.
The Handpan Show is brought to you by MasterTheHandpan, the world's largest online handpan educational platform. Whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced player, or want to learn from one of your favorite players, Master the Handpan has everything you need to improve your skills and have fun. Feeling lost while searching for your first handpan? Master the Handpan has you covered with our one-stop marketplace, connecting you with reputable makers to find your perfect instrument. Join our thriving community of over 15,000 handpan players and share your passion with like-minded handpan enthusiasts. Master the Handpan. Learn fast, have fun.
So with all that stuff, man, I mean, again, the community always seems like you've always kind of been a supporter, a big driving force of the handpan like community, like this, as you said, like the handpan movement. How important was that to your development? Like, I guess not just even as an artist, but as like somebody who has now turned this into a career, like the support and the, camaraderie with all these other people, most of which you just mentioned.
Yeah, I haven't really put it into words, but I think we all want to we all want to connect with people like us. There was so much enthusiasm and excitement. You want to tell someone like I just got this thing, or I just wrote this song. You want to tell someone, and like, I don't know, how do people find each other? It's just a community, like any other community. And it was the first time that we all connected. I'd say that the community is still pretty scattered. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting to get together in the same space.
Yeah, that's like a lot of people ask me that too. What's the community like in the U.S.? And it's a lot different. I feel really lucky to have been invited to a lot of the Europe festivals and to know a lot of the players there. And it just seems like everybody's a bit, I don't know if it's geographically closer or just ease of access. Like you could, the festivals are all kind of close, so everybody knows each other more. But here even for people like us, Sylvain, we live on the East Coast, and to visit someone like Colin on the West Coast that's a 6-hour flight. Or even, Josh Rivera is also on the East Coast, but that's a 14-hour drive. Like, it's so I think there is a community, but like you said, it's spread out. I think Hangout US was a pretty cool event because everybody kind of came to one spot, like Pantheon in California, everybody goes, or a lot of people used to go to that. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head where there is a community here, but now it's just kind of a bit spread out,
Yeah. Yeah. Sylvain, how have you seen this community changing? Because you are everything. Honestly, you are a player, you are a performer, you are super enthusiast and really caring of people. You've started so many things. You've been doing a podcast way before us. You've been starting new ideas a lot. You've been selling handpans. You've been working with makers. Through all that, what can you say about this community and the changes that has happened?
Yeah, I think
you've seen it. You've seen it through different angles, and you've been really inside of it through this different stuff you've been building and working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting. I've been working with Pantheon Steel for 5 years, and partnering with a manufacturer showed you a whole other angle to this community. What are new players looking for? What does it look like to craft a good instrument? What kind of layouts or scales resonate with people? And yeah, so that's from the manufacturing. The podcast was really cool because I got to hear tons of stories from veterans as well as new players, and what it is that motivates people to continue to get into this this art form, this scene, this community. So it's all over the place, honestly. There's no one answer. I think there's tons of sub communities, people who do it for different reasons. I think you can play for as an amateur, which is often a term that's looked down upon, but actually the root means to love something. It's just you're doing it for the love of it. Mm-hmm. And hobbies are wonderful. They lower your stress level and they make you happy. Yeah. There's music to impress. There's music to relax. There's music to party. There's it's growing in all these directions. So yeah, and it's only going to continue growing. I think that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. And I think it's probably pretty interesting to hear your take. Like, you've been so dialed into this world on the player front as well as the builder front. And obviously we're all super excited about the, new players and new instruments and layouts and all that stuff. But for you, is there kind of a select few artists that you always listen to and a select few styles of instruments or builders that you always go back to as kind of your favorites?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked hard on curating my own quiver. I think we all have. So I'm really, really happy about the instruments that I have and the repertoire that I've built on those instruments. And then in terms of style, I just like the handpan. So, I like most of what I hear, really. But I would say if I feel sad, I go listen to Andy Style because, he will make you happy.
Yeah.
If I feel intense and moody, I'll go listen to Steve Sheehan because he draws those emotions. If I want to be amazed, I'll go watch a video of Dan Mulqueen fly over the pan and be like, what just happened?
Yes.
If I want the old school, awesome playing that I first fell in love with, I go listen to David's music.
Yeah.
It's just, there's so much all around, so much beauty. So I love it all.
Yeah. And then, we could definitely cut this if it's a bit too hush hush or whatever. But you have, just like you talked about, you worked with Pantheon a lot, and there's kind of this a bit of a question mark around them in terms of if they're still producing, are they building, are you still on the team? Like, what can you say, if anything, about them?
Yeah, my collaboration with Kyle is slowing down, as he made public last year that he was ready to kind of turn the page and possibly sell Pantheon. More than any company, he's developed some high tech in handpan manufacturing. He's still very involved in servicing instruments that are circulating in the US. So if you have a handpan that's out of tune, which is not an if, but a when with these instruments. He has a pretty good process for handpan retunes. And he's a really good steward of the art form. So whatever his next steps look like, he will continue to be a force for making sure that we don't forget where we come from. His background is in the steel pan, and I think that's, to know where you're going, you have to know where you come from. And also to service all these instruments that are, walk into a Guitar Center or there's now handpans everywhere.
Yeah, man, that's a very cool answer to hear, that he's, still, it's not like he's just crawling away and hiding, that he's still out there and tuning and enjoying it and stuff. But, up until now, we've talked a lot about your, the early days and the bands and, the stuff that you've done for other companies and all that. But you are certainly not slouching on your playing and pushing your playing forward. You just did, if you could talk about what did you spend in Dubai? Like 8 months, 7 months? You were there forever, man, just playing. So what was that all about?
Yeah, this was a dream job. This was the opportunity of a lifetime. So every 5 years, there's something called the World Fair or the World Expo that happens in a different city. Cities bid for these events like the Olympic Games. So, it's like all planned like 10 years in advance. Kind of like next year, France is hosting the Olympic Games. The bidding happened probably 10 years ago. So Dubai in the United Arab Emirates won the bid to host the 2020 World Expo. And because they're Dubai, they went all out. A World Expo, just to give you a refresher, I didn't really know this myself, but like the Eiffel Tower in Paris was built there for a World Expo.
That, yeah.
The Seattle Space Needle, you name it, like pretty much every global city that has really cool landmarks, a lot of them were built for World Expos, where the world comes together for 6 months, every country is represented, and food, culture, history, innovation, tech, arts, you name it. So where I got lucky is that because Dubai wanted to go all in, they wanted to have an in-house music department. So in addition to having Coldplay and Black Eyed Peas and Christina Aguilera and like all these people like play at the event, they also wanted to have resident musicians there for the whole 6 months to play day in and day out. So I think I played something like under 300 performances.
Oh my gosh.
And which was, man, it was awesome. It was a lot of work. It was under the direction of Maestro Harut Fazlian, who's a Lebanese conductor. And I was a part of 6 different ensembles with Qing Du. She plays the Chinese guzheng. It's this plucked pentatonic string harp. With Al Abdallah on the kanun. The kanun is this sort of like lap dulcimer that is a microtonal instrument. So, from our C to C sharp, we have just a half step. We have nothing between a C and a C sharp. He has like 6 different intervals between that.
Damn.
So incredibly soulful music. Christina Policarpou on the Cretan lira. It's like a pear-shaped violin with sympathetic strings. You play on 3 strings, but there's 18 sympathetic strings that resonate. Earl Brooks from New York City area. He's from Trinidad originally. He played steel pan, so got to collaborate with him with steel pan and handpan.
Didgeridoo guy?
And Nasib Bouchabel on didgeridoo. So I was part of different groups, duos, trios with these guys, and the goal was to bring different music traditions, different instruments together. And I recorded all of our sets and made a compilation album that people can find on Spotify if they look up my name. Yeah, so I mean, it was amazing. That was kind of long-winded, but
no, it's good.
Creative explosion,
I can imagine.
Cultural delight.
Wow.
So for that, I mean, you were the only handpan player that was there. Is there any sort of handpan scene in Dubai? Did you see anybody else playing?
Is it big? It's growing?
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think there's a maker in Iran that produces a lot of instruments. You might have seen them online. They're kind of multicolor, and they were all over the place there. Oh. I connected with the community there a little bit, and was surprised to see that.
Nice. So when you do a gig like that, that's 6 months of time. Are you kind of just improvising up there? Do you have like a set that you do twice a day for 6 months, or what was the playing like?
Yeah, so they flew us out there a month before the beginning of the event, and we had 1 month in rehearsal studios to write the music. It started with just 2 ensembles, so you have 2 groups, two bands, and you have to write maybe 2 sets for each band. And then, by the time it kicked off, we had 4 sets, right? 2 with each. And then 2 months later, they introduced 2 more ensembles, and you go through that. On top of the performing, you go to the rehearsal studio in the evening or whatever, and you write. Damn. So by the end, it was a lot of rep. It was a big amount of music to remember. And thankfully, maestro was pretty hands off, so it was all stuff that we wrote ourselves.
Nice.
We got to create whatever we wanted to create.
Yeah.
Excellent. And now you're back home. So already 2 years. Yeah, for me, you were there last year.
Yeah.
Year and a half.
Yeah, and actually the World Expo was pushed off by 1 year because of the pandemic. So
Okay, that makes sense. What's next for you? Touring, traveling. What are the plans? You've released this Hajmiin, if I pronounce it well. Hajmiin. That when I saw that, I was like, "This is my cousin. Something new, different, fresh." Something that you don't see a lot, or even that you've never heard in the community. So Hashmin is a story you wrote. And what's behind this?
Oh, I'm in love with that project. Thank you for mentioning it. So I'm performing this. I wrote this, and I'm performing this under the band name Myths and Moods. And Hajmiin is a guided musical fantasy. And I think I can genuinely say this is the first time I feel like I've created something truly original that I've never seen anywhere else. It's an ambient adventure that invites the listener on a scenic journey across a mysterious island, teeming with the sounds of nature. So you've got birds, insects, wind.
That you recorded on
waves.
your own, right?
Yeah, so last summer, by day or night, rain or shine, I set out to record nature sounds. I'm a little bit of a fanatic about nature sounds. And so if you can picture me in the forest at 2 a.m., I've got my recorder, in a sling bag, my boom microphone, stereo mic, and I'm recording owls and insects, crickets and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I wanted it to be an elemental feeling. These are sounds, we're a part of the natural world, humans. And I think that nature sounds, and it's actually documented, there's a lot of research that shows that it contributes to well-being. And I wanted to do more than just have a few birds chirping in the background. I wanted to bring listeners into this immersive soundscape for daydream. And so it's a combination of nature sounds, drones, and by drone I don't mean the flying aircraft, but, as a sustained note created with modular synthesizers. And then, of course, there's plenty of handpan, but maybe more importantly, I wrote a fictional folktale. I wrote a fairy story. And so it's a mix between an audiobook and a musical album. And the goal is that it changes you.
There you go. And you shared the video of the painting, and through different songs, different parts of it light up. So is the plan to do kind of an audio and visual show with this, or is it more of for the recording? What's the plan for Hajmiin live?
Yeah. So live, I'm narrating the story and playing the instrumentation in real time. And I've created these backing tracks for myself. Mm-hmm. And then I'm projecting an evolving visual in the background that slowly reveals the island. And this island, I actually dreamed it up. This is how the whole project started. One day in Dubai, I was sketching this fantasy island. And then I thought, okay, what if every area, so the dunes, you're washed up, sound of waves, it's hot, you're sweating. What if the campfire at night under the stars? What if the pond with the frogs? What if all of these environments, I wrote music for them, and then the narrative came after that. But
super creative.
Yeah.
And then the best way I think to experience it, if you're not actually attending a live performance, is to either close your eyes, because your mind will create the places that you hear about through the sounds, through the story. Yeah. Or you can watch the evolving video as well.
Yeah, I was watching the video and listening with the good headphones, so you really get, first of all, the whatever gain structure you used on your voice. I was like, damn, Sylvain, this is it's like super bassy and awesome. It sounded great. But like I was watching it and listening, and I was like, man, like if you were to do this like in like a planetarium or like somewhere where people can like really see the different things light up and crazy good audio and stuff, I think that would be my suggestion, creative suggestion, is take it into a big ass planetarium, project it on the ceiling. But no, it's a really, really great project, man. It's really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks so much. It's different. I know it was kind of out of nowhere for a lot of people, but it's just, my story and so many of our stories is just a continuation of projects. It's the artist's life, right? Like inspirations bring you on an interesting path, and so I'm not exactly sure, what will be next, but so far the journey's been very fun.
Danny, congratulations! Yeah. What a nice and creative and fresh project for all of us.
No, thanks.
It's creative. We like it.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you want to check out this amazing, how do you call it? A fair? What is fair in French? No, not fair. Tale.
Fairytale.
Fairytale.
Yeah. Fair and fairytale. Fairytale, c'est un conte. Mais pas conte de fées.
Conte.
Ouais, ok. Tale, c'est pas la fée. Non?
C'est l'histoire. The story.
Okay, sorry guys for this French moment. I'm learning English. So if we want to listen to this project, we just go on Spotify, on your website. Where is it? What's the best way to listen to it?
The best way is to go to mythsandmoods.com.
Yeah, we'll put it in the description too.
Page. Yeah, we'll mention it. Thanks, Dan. Cousin, we didn't want with Dan this podcast to be, like a constant update or promotion or whatever on things at Master the Handpan, but we have to talk about it because that's kind of super cool.
Yeah.
You've just joined the team.
I have.
I cannot believe this.
Yeah.
After so many years, can you tell us the story? Because it came from you.
Yeah, no, it's so fun. I feel like it's serendipity. It just happened. I've had the tremendous pleasure of being so involved with each of you guys over the years. Like Dan, we've seen each other at gatherings. We've collaborated with Pantheon. We did a podcast episode together.
Yep.
One of my favorite moments with you, Dan, is at Hangout USA 2014. We had this jam with Andy Style.
That's right, in the little barn. It was just the three of us in that little. It was like a little horse stall or something like
exactly.
This. I couldn't believe that. I was like, "That's Andy from." I've watched every one of your videos. This is the craziest thing. But yeah, that was a really cool moment, a really cool jam for me as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So we go way back, and of course, David. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Okay. There's however many thousand students on MasterTheHandpan, but hey, I have the biggest claim. I can make this claim confidently. I was the first MasterTheHandpan student. I can say this because I learned with David 15 years ago, 17 years ago. And, I remember those days when there were no learning systems. There were no teaching methods, and we sort of managed, and I think it was a beautiful chaos, you know, how to talk about techniques and how to actually make it work. But I mean, David, you have invented a way of teaching the handpan, a way of bringing it to the virtual classroom. And I think it's just so exciting to see that. And I think it's going to serve this new generation of players who are much more numerous than we were. I mean, we're talking the masses. The handpan is becoming mainstream, and I couldn't hope for a better leader, better teachers than the teachers on the platform. And so to work alongside you guys is just a treat. So,
yeah,
no, you are doing us a present.
Yeah.
I tried many years, guys, to get Sylvain. I was like, Sylvain, what's going on in your life? Are you still doing this or that, this project? Are you in Dubai? Are you in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee? Are you, what's the plan? You know, there is room for you at MasterTheHandpan. I need someone like you. And it was never the time. You've been always like, that's interesting, because there's many things to do. And I know you like the community, you like to push, and we've heard about it, Hashmin and podcast and so many projects. You like to create, you like to help and serve and care for the community. But so I posted something like, we have lost Julie. She's gone to develop her company and stuff. And we were looking for someone to work with our social media and much more, but just the title is community manager, but it's way more than this. Social media, whatever. And you popped up, and told me, I would be interested. And I was like, are you sure? But if you are interested, I have so many things for you, not only social media stuff.
Yeah.
But so you joined the team. We heard you are excited. Are you like nervous or something, or it's okay? It's cool so far. How has it been?
I haven't seen this level of engagement on MasterTheHandpan's family group since the days of handpan.org.
Ooh,
I haven't seen a community to be so connected. And it's really cool to see a community of people who care about each other and who take care of each other. And I'm really excited to be a part in continuing to create that environment, because, I mean, all of us here, we've had the best time with this instrument for the past 15, David, almost 20 years. And I think all I can hope is that I create an environment that allows people to have as good of a time, if not better, than the one that I've had. So
honestly, that's what
crazy.
Is driving us. And do you remember even those early days, we wanted to share. We wanted people to play, and we were against all this elitism, like everything that was like elitist or like it's only for those people, or we were kind of against that, and we were like, this should be played by everyone should enjoy, and we wanted everyone to experience that joy, that feeling of playing and sharing and stuff. And when I heard about you joining the team, I was like, that's the perfect guy. My cousin is an expert in this field. Through all these angles, we talk about players, enthusiasts, helping makers, selling handpans, doing podcast projects, everything on your own. And I was like, wow. And I know you love the people. Yeah. And I know it's not just for the thing. You genuinely love the people. You want to help people. You want to serve them. You want them really to enjoy. You take time. You don't send an emoji like, hey, that was cool. You take time to speak with the people. And this, we cannot fake it for so many years. You know what I'm saying? You cannot fake it.
I think too, it's worth mentioning too. Sorry to cut you off, man, but you know, the community and your engagement and all that stuff is great, but it's also with SEO and social media and all the other stuff. You're kind of a wizard with all this other stuff, man. Like the SEO and especially the SEO and like your website, just your sylvainpaslier.com is like world class. Like where for you, when did all of that start? Like seeing the importance of that side of it to help the music side, like where did that all kind of begin for you, seeing the importance of that?
Yeah, I mean, the guiding principle is really the biggest sin in the desert is to find water and not tell anyone about it. You know?
Yeah.
We have found water with this endless. I might be hyping it too much, but I mean,
so.
Okay, what would our lives be without this instrument? Like, where would each one of us be? It
Not
has
here,
transformed
not sitting like this.
our lives.
Local gigs with guitar,
Yep.
little bars.
I
You would have
remember
the
a
longest
conversation,
dreadlocks we've ever seen on you, probably, Dave.
Like, I remember a conversation with Judith Lerner on the Handpan podcast. And she was like, oh, the places you'll go and the people you'll meet and the things you'll do. And like, yeah, we only get this one life. Isn't it fun to find something you love and dive in, go deep? So to answer your question, in the early days, there was no information about this instrument. So I started a simple website with information that people were looking for. And before I had anything to pitch, before I had anything to sell, before I had any sort of marketing idea, I responded to hundreds of emails from people who just wanted to have information. And I don't know, it's
Okay,
cool.
so two things. We have to say you're pretty good with all this, like we say with art and everything. You're good at it. You've been reading and everything, but also, and that's the second thing, you just wanted to serve people, to help them, to give them real informations. You were caring about people to have a good instrument, to have good information. And this is the best SEO, is when you are helping people, when you are solving problems. And I think it's a mix of both your skills as this kind of things, SEO and building websites and stuff, but you've been taking hours and hours for people, and we don't see that. It's nowhere. It's on your Gmail address, but how many people I met, they told me I got my handpan because of Sylvain. He took my hand and he answered so many emails back and forth. I was insecure. I didn't know what to choose and da. And you've been just loving, serving, helping, and that's the best SEO, and that's how you build something also just by doing this.
Yeah, and it's not just me. I mean, look at the admins on handpan.org. They weren't paid. They spent hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
I mean, people have been devoting
To share
their energy, their resources to making this a cool place to live, because we live in this space. You know, like one of my visions has always been, okay, the handpan world is changing, right? There's a lot of changes. We all have to adapt. But you know what? I really hope that the people who care about this art form are going to be a part of tomorrow. Because I would rather be here chatting with you guys than to be with someone in a corporate job who was told, okay, you're going to start a handpan podcast. And, you know, like it's cool. Our role changes as we get older in this handpan world. But I think I love staying involved maybe in a different way. Because it's fun. It's also the only thing in my life that I've devoted so much time and love to. So we live in this space, you know. Let's make it a cool environment. Let's enjoy ourselves, and
Yeah, and
Amazing, man.
I know that we're gonna do cool stuff together.
oh my gosh, you guys are talk about wizards. Like, I am joining the team, and my brain is I've got smoke coming out my ears.
That's because you've been speaking with Matt also.
Yeah.
No one will ever see Matt.
Weapon. Yeah.
He's next to me. You know that he's next to me? No one will see him. Yeah, we are a good team, guys, and we hope we're gonna just do some nice projects. It's good to have you. Dan also.
We talked to the teachers at Pan Tribe about Matt, and because I don't think any of the teachers really know him. And
no one knows Matt.
I think it was Marloy that said Matt sounds like an AI program, and me and Dave told her we said that AI is modeled after
AI
Matt.
Program. Yeah,
like,
it's
he's
Elon
the
Musk
original
who built. I think Elon Musk back in 2017 created 3 Matt Layes. There's one in Europe. I got it. There's one in Indonesia, I think, and one in the US. No, it's amazing. I'm loving working with you guys and for this community. And Dan also, people know that, I think now, but you joined also the team several months ago. But friends,
that's it.
Our passion, a community, teaching, helping, making a living. Wow, that is so cool.
That's it, man. But well, Sylvain, man, that's it's been a pleasure to have you on. I was a bit nervous for this as somebody who has podcast experience like yourself. You know, I was like, man, I hope we don't bore him.
We don't mess up.
I'm glad that I'm not in your shoes. There may be future episodes of the Handpan podcast, but it's a big job, and I think what you guys are doing is brilliant. I've been listening to most episodes, and keep it going, and maybe I'll pop in every now and then.
Guys, if you're listening to us, we've been discussing. You might
hear more and see more of Sylvain.
You might hear more of Sylvain.
That's it.
Cool, guys.
Yeah, Sylvain, the floor is yours, man. What would you like the people to know? Where can they find you? What should they check out?
Okay. Don't forget, you don't just live in a world, but a world lives within you. That inspiration, that creativity, you now have a tool on your lap to channel that. And how precious is that? The handpan is a companion instrument. Play it. Play it, play it, play it. And play. It's fun. Thanks for having me. I mean, we already mentioned the links and everything. So just really honored to be a part of the team. Thanks for allowing me to tell my story. It's funny when you have a podcast, like no one really asks you questions. So one day we need to interview David and Dan here. So
we'll just take turns being the guest.
We'll give you the lead.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
But all right, man. Thank you so much. Sylvain Paslier, Handpan Show.
Bisous, cousin.
Ciao,
Sylvain
ciao.
Paslier, Handpan Show. Bye, guys.